this time we're talking about liquid death. And the reason why is because some really popular YouTubers talked about it. And I debated whether I wanted to like hop into the fray, but I actually think there's like a worthwhile conversation in this thing. All right. So what happened was, like, for some of you guys, maybe you guys watch tons of different YouTube. My YouTube analytics tell me that you guys watch these guys, but there's this guy named Isaiah Saldivar, who I'm not super familiar with, to be honest. I don't go like looking for stuff. I remember like John Adams and Jeremy Collins, we were talking, and they were talking about this guy. And so I started looking up some stuff to see what he was about. And shocker, you know, not a fan of his content. He's one of those demon slayer guys. And a lot of times there's legalism that's attached to the hyper charismatics. And so it's just not my jam. But he went and had a conversation with Ruslan. And I've talked about Ruslan a couple times, and you know, he watches the channel every once in a while and hops into the chat. And you know, like I check in and see what's going on over there on his channel and get some ideas and things like that. And you know, he's got a big channel, so I get some, you know, inspiration, if you will, from what he's doing over there. And so I checked in on a conversation that he was having about liquid death, and apparently there was this big kerfuffle on his channel, on Ruslan's channel, about how he was drinking liquid death, and everyone was like, bro, that's going to give you demons. That's right. I said it. Like, people honestly believe this. That, and like, I'm showing my cards right off the bat. You know, I don't got a long sleeve shirt on. My cards are just there. But they're saying like this water is going to give you some demons. And the reason why is because of a couple different things. First, a lot of people will talk about a shirt that they made. So Liquid Death, this company, who I think is like in Denmark or something like that. And they decided that they're going to, you know, have this be part of their marketing, where they are just talking about demons all the time and talking about how their water has demons infused into it. Now, as Christians, obviously that's going to rifle some feathers. That doesn't sound right. That sounds really American. But you know, it's just ruffle some feathers. That's the phrase. But yeah, understandable. I could understand why there would be Christians who would look at this and be like, not for me. You know, just, I'm not being a part of that. I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to, like, I could even see parents being like, my kids aren't drinking that. I don't care if it's cool. They're not doing it. I could totally see that. This is, to me, even more than Monster Energy drink with their like, something about unleash the beast, you know, and people immediately go, the beast, you know, like it can't be Beauty and the Beast unless it's, you know, that church in Winnipeg. But they're just immediately like, it's the beast in Revelation, you know, like this is way more than that, to be like, hey, we've got some demons infused into our drinks. And they even talk about it here. If you look at the description, if you are wondering why you have strange nightmares, it's because one time we used a real witch to infuse real demons into a whole warehouse of our water. It was like a demon super spreader event for anyone who opened a can. Now these demons are everywhere and maybe even inside you. So buy the t-shirt just to be safe and warn others to keep their distance from you. And they had a little bit of a marketing campaign with that. So let's take a look at what they had to say. And this witch, who, like some people are saying, like that this is someone who works at this company. I don't know about that. From this commercial, it seems like it's just a commercial. But let's take a look.
Have you ever heard of a real witch summoning demons and trapping them inside cans of water?
No.
Inside this very warehouse sits the entire inventory of Liquid Death mountain water. Each can is about to be infused with real demons by a real witch.
Shocker.
A lot of what I practice can be considered.
Okay, let's stop for a second. so far in the commercial, does it seem like any of this is real? Do you see the fog behind the guy? Do you see like the trench coat trying to look like the exorcism? You know, like there are illusions that are being made here. Marketing. This is marketing. Now, I will admit that I bet that this lady is really into the occult. Like that she really is. Just the jawbones. Like that to me is like, I don't know what that is.
Traditional witchcraft.
What you're about to witness is very real, very dangerous, and in my opinion, a terrible idea.
Agreed.
We enter into the dark half of the year. Now is the time of the dead. I ask you, spirits, those who are listening, I invite you here.
Okay.
I offer this water as a vessel for you to come into this world.
Is it cringy?
Hands are
Absolutely.
opened. You are released. I welcome you. Now is the time of the dead.
Demon-infused liquid death. If you drink it, will you become possessed?
I like this part. I will say this is funny. $1 off an exorcism. All right. So this commercial is obviously meant to tick off certain people, to put some people off of this product, right? Like that they don't want those people because they're going after a certain demographic that would look at this and say that's cool. And what is that demographic? It's metal fans, right? Like hardcore heavy metal fans. Like all like the look of it, the movie, like it looks like The Exorcism. They're talking about like all this stuff, all of this, and their whole deal, their whole marketing campaign is focused on metal fans. And they're trying to differentiate themselves from the other brands like Dasani and Aquafina, and everything looks so bland. And they're here to be like, we're metal, you know, they're just going for it full throttle. And like, not like the other energy drink company called Full Throttle, like the idea of being full throttle. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And they know that people within that demographic that they're trying to get, that this would play well with them. And so they're doing it. Now, here's a couple things where Christians go wrong. One, even if someone claims to be in the occult, it doesn't mean that they are. Okay? Like this, there's this thing that Christians have where they're like, anyone who claims like they've like been to, when I was a teenager, I was into some pretty dark stuff. You know, maybe they were. And most likely, maybe, I won't say most likely. I'll say like, yeah, maybe they were into like some really dark stuff. But does that mean that they were in the occult? And does that mean that they talked with someone, that they lit all the candles and they said a name into a mirror 3 times? And yeah, I'm, making fun of it a little bit, but like that, I don't think that a lot of these people are actually telling the truth about it. And I wouldn't expect them to, because they're not Christians. Like, we're the only people who aren't supposed to lie. Like, I mean, like everyone's not supposed to lie, but I mean, like we shouldn't, and we don't. And anyone else, I'm just like, well, they don't have any moral, like someone who's talking about being, part of like the occult. I'm not going to hold them to that high of a moral standard and be like, oh, well, they must be telling me the truth. Like, I think a lot of people lie about this stuff. Second, just because they think that they're being real doesn't make it real. Okay? Like, I'm sure that this lady here, she looks like she's, doing the thing. And maybe she just put on garb. Like, maybe she's just an actress and was paid for a gig to come in and look a certain way, and they had all the stuff ready for her. But, maybe she is. Maybe she is into the occult. Does that mean that she has power over demons? First off, no. There's nothing in Scripture that ties any human being to having power over demons or to be able to compel them to do anything. Okay. No, actually, the only person that we see with that kind of power is Jesus. And he gives that power to his followers through his word. We can, in some certain ways, with a careful attitude that reflects the heart of Christ. Like, I do think that there are demonic forces at play in this world. I don't think that it's in a can of carbonated water, but I do think that that's a real thing. But to think that this woman just has power because she says she does, like, and then we don't see that in scripture where someone can compel someone. And then lastly, like, to those Christians who might be like, you know, like, I don't watch Harry Potter. Like, I know people, like, I grew up with friends, like, they didn't even read or watch Chronicles of Narnia because there was magic in it. And they didn't want to get into anything with any form of magic or sorcery. So they weren't allowed to do that. You know, they're good Christian people. And that was their decision. Like, there are people who are going to look at this and say way too much. And to that, I would say, I absolutely support you. Like, you don't have to support this company. You don't have to drink this water. It obviously, like, it's just water. Like, you can find water pretty much anywhere. But like, you don't have to do that. But we don't see anything in scripture about people being able to compel demons into objects. Like, we see it once, okay, with the Son of God. So we need to, like, make sure that's clearly said, that it's the Son of God who is sovereign over all things, and he compels the demons to go into pigs, which are other living creatures. All right. We never see like that. All right, I'm going to infuse this demon into an inanimate object. All right. A rock. I'm going to compel it into this thing over here. You know, like, I don't know, my glasses, you know, my Captain America mug. Like, we don't see anything like that in scripture. So where are they getting this kind of stuff? This is the kind of stuff that you actually see in, like, Greek mythology and things relating to pagan practices where they're talking about being able to do those things. But here's the thing about pagan practices. It's not legit. Like, they, again, we're not going to hold them to that moral standard and say, like, oh, well, I'm just going to assume that they're telling me the truth. I think that would be foolish to do, especially with someone who's talking about these kind of practices. Like, we don't see that anywhere. And so from mythology, then we come down to things like, yeah, like we see it in things like as basic and as cultural as Harry Potter. All right. Horcruxes. That's essentially what they're talking about with liquid death. They're saying it's a Horcrux. They're saying that they're going to infuse this spiritual being. And that's always something that needs to be said, because when the demon slayers come into this equation, they start talking about things. They're usually talking about, like, some kind of illness, affliction. They're talking about, like, an idea. But scripture is very clear that demons are beings. Like, they're alive in a way. And like, there's, like, they have movement. They have the ability to think. Like, this is not just, oh, I compel this thing to do it. Like, this is a being. And we don't see, like, okay, a being can be trapped inside this can of whatever. Let's say it's, you know, I saw someone, was it Pam, talking about bubbly, a different target audience for Michael Bublé. Yeah. Bubbly is really big up here because everyone loves Michael Bublé. But, like, we don't see that anywhere. So it's to me, I look at this and I go, like, I know what they're doing. Also because I know the marketing agency that they use. All right. The awesome designs that you see. Now, I'm not saying, like, everything else, like the agenda of everything I approve of, but the designs of things are cool. like at least most of them, are pretty cool. And most of it is done by Lincoln Design Company in Oregon. I know that design company. I follow their stuff. I'm aware of what they're doing. I know what their designs look like. Like I'm a fan of Lincoln Design Company, and I know what they've been doing to help this company. And I know a little bit about like the background of that stuff because I watch that kind of stuff, and I'm paying attention to what this company is doing to help with Liquid Death's marketing. And I know what they're doing. They're reaching metal people. They're really trying to focus on that, and it's worked. They niched down hard, and it worked. They're a $700 million company selling water that's carbonated in a can from, I think, Denmark. But they're focused on a niche with the metal people, and they love this kind of stuff, and so they're going for it. So Christians, if you hear people, if it's Isaiah Saldivar, if it's Ruslan, if it's Marcus Rogers, like there's been a lot of drama between like those people, and they're all heavy hitters on Christian YouTube. So most likely for my YouTube audience, you've probably checked out a lot of these people's stuff. So like if they're talking about Liquid Death being demonic, to me, I just look at it and go like, I don't see where this fits into anything that we see in scripture when it comes to demons and angelology in any way. This isn't how it works. Just because someone claims to have power doesn't mean that they do. Now, it doesn't mean that we have to support it. Doesn't mean that you can look at this and be like, it's a good thing. Like you can make that decision for yourself. But at the end of the day, this is very similar to whether you're going to participate in Halloween, whether you're going to have your kids watch Harry Potter, or even something as Christian as the Chronicles of Narnia. Like this comes down to Romans 14 issue of whether you're going to look at this and be offended. Now, there are plenty of people, I'm sure, there are plenty of people who were just going around 7-Eleven trying to find something to drink, and they saw like the label, and they were like the name, and they were like, this is cool. And they have no idea about the demon-infused shirt or this witch lady going and, walking around in a circle, and apparently that means everything's got demons now. Like they have no idea about that. Are you saying that they got a demon? Like, are you saying that? Or like, I know there are people who are like, well, you just have to test the spirits, everything you do. Do you really do that before you drink a thing of water? Like, I don't go like, I just poured this. Hope there's no demons in it. Like no one does that. So I think it's about time that Christians kind of relax a little bit. Stop looking for demons everywhere and just be like, I don't approve of that kind of marketing. I think they're making a joke out of, my faith or an aspect of my faith, or maybe you just find it offensive. Oh, hey, you watched the whole video. Sorry, I'm just doing my light rating here. If you watched the whole video, that means that you probably liked it. So might as well hit the like button before you click over here on what YouTube thinks you should watch. I have zero idea what it is.